Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. This time, we're tackling autism in the workplace, but with a twist.
A twist.
Yeah. We're focusing on the experiences of, well, autistic professionals in education and therapy.
Oh, interesting.
And our main source is Cheap ABA Autism in the Workplace, Overcoming Barriers and Promoting Inclusion. I think this deep dive is going to really challenge some assumptions.
Oh, I bet. It's definitely an important area to look into. I mean, we talk a lot about inclusion, right?
Right.
But to go beyond just, good intentions, we need to understand the specific challenges and the unique contributions of these professionals, especially in these fields.
Absolutely. And the source makes this point that, honestly, it really resonated with me, is that autistic teachers and therapists, they bring this whole other level of understanding to their roles. It's not just empathy.
Yeah.
It's about lived experience.
Yeah.
Imagine a teacher who knows firsthand how, like, a buzzing fluorescent light can, like, completely derail your focus.
Oh, for sure.
Or a therapist who can connect with a client's communication style on such a deep level because they've, like, navigated those same complexities themselves.
And what's so fascinating is that the source, it highlights how that firsthand knowledge that you're talking about can lead to some really innovative approaches.
Totally.
Like an autistic teacher might create a sensory-friendly classroom, right? But the thing is, it ends up benefiting all the students, not just the ones on the spectrum.
Oh, absolutely.
Or a therapist, might develop communication strategies that are more effective because they're rooted in their own personal experiences.
That's such a good point. It shifts the whole narrative, right? It's not about autism as a deficit, but it's recognizing its potential to actually enhance the quality of education and therapy.
For sure, yeah.
But the source also doesn't shy away from the real hurdles that these professionals, they face every day.
Yeah, you're right. There's still so much work to do. The source talks about how autistic colleagues might misinterpret direct communication as being rude or see a need for quiet time as, being antisocial.
Right.
And these misconceptions, they can really lead to isolation and they can even impact career progression.
And it's not just about attitudes, right? Like, think about the traditional workplace setup. Open plan offices, constant chatter, harsh lighting. For someone with sensory sensitivities, that can be incredibly overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely.
It makes it so hard to focus, to do your best work. The source really digs into how these, seemingly normal workplace features can become huge barriers to success for autistic professionals.
It's true, and it's not just the physical environment either, all the unwritten social rules, the emphasis on small talk, even just the way feedback is given can be really challenging. Like, imagine an autistic professional who thrives on clear, direct communication, right? And then they're in a workplace where so much of the communication is indirect or relies on all these subtle cues.
Totally lost.
It's tough.
Yeah, it really highlights the need for us to examine our own assumptions about what a professional environment, what it should look and feel like.
Right.
So how do we even start to bridge this gap? The source seems to be advocating for a multi-pronged approach,
Well, one key area that the source really emphasizes is the need to challenge stereotypes.
Yeah.
And really educate ourselves and others about autism. It's about moving beyond just awareness to a deeper understanding of the spectrum and the many different ways that autistic individuals experience and interact with the world.
And that education has to translate into, concrete actions.
Right. Absolutely. The source talks a lot about the importance of accommodations, but it's not just about, ticking boxes. It's about truly understanding the needs of autistic professionals and making adjustments that allow them to really thrive. For example, providing sensory-friendly workspaces, offering flexible work arrangements, and even just establishing really clear communication guidelines.
Yeah.
That can make a huge difference.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The source, it argues that creating an inclusive workplace, it's not just about being, nice or accommodating.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the unique strengths that autistic individuals bring to the table.
Exactly. Think about the incredible attention to detail, the ability to focus intensely, and the strong sense of justice that a lot of autistic individuals have. These strengths can be so incredibly valuable, especially in fields like education and therapy.
It's true. Imagine an autistic teacher who can pick up on the subtlest cues from their students, or a therapist who brings this laser focus to understanding their clients' needs. It's about valuing those differences. It's not about trying to fit everyone into the same mold.
Exactly.
But it's not just about individual strengths,
Yeah.
right? The source also talks about how autistic professionals can contribute to like broader systemic changes.
Oh, that's a crucial point because, because of their lived experience, autistic professionals, they're often in a really unique position to identify and challenge systemic biases and inequalities.
Yeah.
For example, they might be the first to point out that a curriculum isn't accessible to all learners or that a therapy program isn't culturally sensitive. It's like they have this incredible ability to see the world from this totally different perspective and challenge the status quo in a way that can really benefit everyone.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the challenges, the need for accommodations, but I think it's so important to keep coming back to this idea of strengths and contributions. It's about recognizing the value of neurodiversity. It's not just focusing on what needs to be fixed. I completely agree. And it's important to remember that this isn't just about, benefiting autistic individuals. It's about creating a more equitable and a more enriching environment for everyone.
Huh.
When we embrace neurodiversity, we unlock a whole new level of creativity, innovation, and understanding.
It makes you wonder, what would our workplaces, our schools, our communities even look like if we truly valued and celebrated the unique contributions of every individual, regardless of their neurotype?
That's a really powerful question. And it leads us nicely into the next part of our deep dive, where we'll explore specific strategies for building those truly inclusive environments.
We've been talking about the incredible potential of autistic professionals, especially in fields like education and therapy.
Yeah.
But, potential doesn't always just magically translate into success.
Right.
And the source really emphasizes that organizations, they have a responsibility to create environments where autistic individuals can truly thrive.
And that brings us to the whole concept of accommodations, which the source really dives into.
It does.
But it's so important to remember that accommodations aren't about, special treatment or anything like that. It's about leveling the playing field.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And the source gives the example of sensory-friendly workspaces.
Yeah.
Like, what would that look like?
Wow.
It could be things like adjustable lighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Designated quiet areas, or even just providing noise-canceling headphones.
Right.
It's about recognizing that, what might be a comfortable work environment for one person could be incredibly overwhelming for someone with sensory sensitivity.
For sure. And it's not just about the physical space either.
Yeah.
The source also talks about the importance of clear communication guidelines.
Like what?
Well, for example, using plain language,
Yeah.
avoiding jargon,
Okay.
and providing information in writing.
Oh, interesting.
That can make a huge difference for autistic individuals who might process information differently.
I could see how those guidelines would benefit everyone in the workplace,
Yeah.
not just those on the spectrum.
Exactly.
It's about creating an environment where communication is clear, direct, and respectful.
Right.
But accommodations go beyond just the physical environment and communication styles too, right?
Absolutely. The source, it highlights the importance of flexible work arrangements.
Like what kind of things?
Well, this could mean allowing for flexible hours, the option to work from home, or even providing breaks throughout the day to manage sensory overload.
It's about recognizing that what constitutes a productive work schedule. They can vary from person to person. And it's not just about making these adjustments for individual needs, right?
Right.
The source also talks about the need for systemic changes.
Yes, and this is where things get really interesting, The source challenges us to think about how traditional hiring practices,
Yeah.
performance evaluations, even professional development programs,
Right.
how those might unintentionally exclude or disadvantage autistic individuals.
So instead of just trying to fit autistic professionals into existing structures, we need to be willing to re-examine those structures and ask, are these truly equitable and inclusive?
Absolutely. The source gives the example of professional development programs.
Oh, yeah.
A traditional workshop format.
Yeah.
With its emphasis on group activities and social interaction. That might not be the most effective way for some autistic professionals to learn and grow.
So what would be like some alternatives?
Well, the source suggests offering a variety of different formats.
Right.
It's like online courses, mentorship programs, or even individualized coaching sessions.
Oh, interesting.
It's about providing options that cater to different learning styles and needs.
And it's not just about the format, it's also about the content, right?
Absolutely. The source emphasizes the importance of professional development programs that address the specific challenges and strengths of autistic professionals.
Like what kind of things?
Well, for example, training on effective communication strategies,
Hmm.
sensory regulation techniques, or even understanding workplace dynamics,
Yeah.
that could be incredibly valuable.
It's about empowering artistic professionals to navigate the workplace successfully, but it's also about equipping their colleagues to be better allies and advocates.
Exactly.
What I'm hearing is that creating a truly inclusive workplace for autistic professionals, it requires a multifaceted approach:
It does.
individual accommodations, systemic changes,
Yeah.
and a willingness to constantly learn and adapt.
That's a great way to put it. And it's important to remember that this isn't just about fulfilling like a legal or ethical obligation or something.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing the incredible value that autistic professionals they bring to the table.
Right?
When we create inclusive workplaces, we all benefit from their unique perspectives, their talents, and their insights.
It makes you wonder, what could we achieve if we tapped into the full potential of autistic individuals?
Mhm.
What innovations could we unlock? What problems could we solve if we created environments where everyone felt empowered to contribute their best work?
That's a powerful thought, and it leads us into the final part of our deep dive, where we'll shift the focus to the individual listener and explore how each of us can play a role in creating a more inclusive world.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
Mhm.
The unique experiences of autistic professionals in education and therapy.
Yeah.
We talked about the challenges and the need for systemic change and creating inclusive workplaces, all that good stuff.
Mm.
But as we wrap up, I kind of want to shift gears and talk about you, the listener.
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Hmm.
We can talk about policies and all these organizational strategies all day, but
Yeah.
real change, it starts with individual action.
So what can you do to make a difference in your own, little corner of the world? The source, it doesn't offer like a magic bullet,
Right.
but it does have some good food for thought.
One thing the source really emphasizes is continuous learning, you know?
Yeah.
It's about going beyond just that surface level awareness of autism and really digging into the lived experiences of autistic people.
Okay.
Read books, listen to podcasts, watch documentaries, really immerse yourself in those diverse perspectives.
It's about challenging your own assumptions and biases,
Yeah.
even the ones you don't realize you have.
Because, we all have them.
We do.
And once you've kind of expanded that understanding, think about how you can apply that knowledge to your everyday life.
Yeah.
It might be something as simple as being more mindful of your language,
Okay.
avoiding jargon or idioms that could be confusing, or it could be advocating for those sensory-friendly spaces in your workplace or your community.
And the source also talks about listening to autistic voices.
Yeah.
Like actually seek out their stories, engage in dialogue, learn from their experiences.
It's about amplifying those voices, right? Creating platforms for them to be heard and valuing their contributions.
And don't underestimate the power of small actions. Like a kind word, a gesture of support, or even just taking the time to listen.
It can make such a difference in someone's life.
It creates like a ripple effect of inclusion
Exactly.
that can lead to lasting change.
Mhm.
This deep dive
Yeah.
is really highlighted for me that inclusion isn't just a checkbox.
Yeah,
It's a journey.
it is.
It's a process of learning, unlearning, and adapting.
Right.
And it's a journey we got to take together.
We all have a role to play in creating a world where autistic individuals, they feel valued and respected and empowered to reach their full potential.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question.
Okay.
What small step can you take today to make a difference?
Yeah.
It could be reaching out to an autistic friend or colleague, educating yourself about some aspect of autism, or just speaking up against discrimination.
Every action, no matter how small, it contributes to a more inclusive and equitable world.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
We hope it's left you with a deeper understanding of autism in the workplace, and more importantly, a sense of hope and a call to action.
And remember, creating a truly inclusive world, it starts with each of us as a